One of the biggest challenges confronting Nigeria today is leadership. Nigeria is blessed in all ramifications, blessed material human resources. But since the inception of the entity called Nigeria has not been lucky with leaders. You know, a lot of factors can be accounted for why leaders who have ruled Nigeria at one time or the other, even as governors, have failed. Yeah, we know there are a lot of influences, internal politics, and all of that. But one thing that's brought about bad leadership in Nigeria, aside the leaders being corrupt, aside a leader being influenced by ethnicity, religion, but one factor that has, you know, that can be attributed to failure of leadership in Nigeria is what I describe as political sycophancy. Sycophancy is simply massaging the ego of whoever is a leader, and there are people who are experts in doing this. They just surround themselves, with the leader, and then tell him what he wants to hear. Over time, we've seen they've said, "Oh, former President Jonathan failed as a president. Buhari failed as a president. Why did this man fail? Why? It's not because they didn't have the capacity to be good leaders. It's simply because of political sycophancy. Massaging the ego of the person in power, telling him what he wants to hear. Imagine during when Buhari was sick and was out of office for a very long time. Imagine people, due to political sycophancy, just waking up one day to say, Buhari can rule the country from anywhere in the world. The president rule the country from anywhere in the world. We've seen, people say, "Oh, if not for Buhari, the leaders, the Igbos will not make it." Somebody will say, during the time of Buhari, time of Jonathan, somebody will just simply say, "Oh, maybe, for instance, during the ASU crisis and all of that, somebody will just say, ASU has, do not have any right to make demands and everything." So you just find people, even recently, when the President Bola Tinubu was nowhere to be found for a few days, someone just mentioned that Buhari, Tinubu can rule from anywhere in the world. So political sycophancy is one of the biggest problems of, aside corruption, aside ethnicity, aside religion, aside nepotism, prebendalism. There's a very big factor that has accounted for bad and poor leadership in Nigeria. It's political sycophancy, where people, the president or the governor, just wants to, is comfortable with whatever is told by people around him. No effort to find out if what is being told, just massage their ego. And then political sycophancy can even take a different dimension. Like what we see today, you find the Senate president, members of House of Reps, speaker, ministers, all wearing caps with insignia of the president. All of these amounts to political sycophancy. They don't really love the president just simply for what they can get from the president. And the political sycophancy did not start today. It did not begin to to affect the very fabric of the Nigerian state today. In his book, There Was a Country, Chinua Achebe mentioned in some part, he said, one of the reasons that led to the escalation of the war and the killing of people, he said, and I quote, "Some of Ojuku's and Gowon's civilian advisors aggravated the crisis by transforming themselves into sycophants. Rather than encourage their respective leaders on each side of the conflict to embrace peace and consider a ceasefire, they massage their ego and then spur them into escalating conflict." And this is one of the reasons why the Nigerian civil war that lasted close to 30 months lasted for that long. just political sycophancy. And we're already seeing that happening today. You see the minister come out to tell you this is what it is. The governor, people just come out to just say whatever, even if they know that these things are not really what it should be. But of course, political sycophancy. And if you look at the case of Rivers, the same thing is playing out. A lot of political sycophants will not tell the governor, will not tell the godfather that this is what should be done, but simply because of what they stand to gain, they massage the ego of whoever is in power, and then they make them to have their way. At the end of their tenure, they find out that they haven't made any impact at all. So political sycophancy is one of the factors responsible for bad leadership in Nigeria. I hope we get out of it soon. And I implore leaders, if you're a leader, to see things outside what you're being told by people around you. Because most oftentimes those things, therefore, for personal aggrandizement. Don't forget to subscribe to Joel Political Blog on YouTube. You can follow us on Facebook. Follow me, Joel Kemi, on Facebook. Follow Joel Political Blog on Facebook. And please, you can also subscribe to our WhatsApp channel, Joel Political Blog. Until I come your way again, I remain Joel Kemi.